Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, as-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulihil Kareem, amma ba'd, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Inna ad-deena inda Allahi al-Islam, subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. My dear respected brothers, elders and sisters, last week I started off a hadith reported by Abu Kabsha Anmari radiyallahu anh, which is in Tirmidhi, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there are four types of people. The dunya comprises of four types of people, four groups of people. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, at all times remember this. And the purpose of remembering this is so we can ask ourselves on a daily basis, what group of people are we falling under? The first group, the Prophet ﷺ said, the first group is that group who Allah Rabbul Izzat gives wealth, and they spend that wealth in fulfilling the rights of their relatives, the rights of the poor and the need, and the rights of those people that are in need. And at the same time, Allah Rabbul Izzat has given them knowledge, and they use this knowledge to recognize their Rabb, to recognize their Lord and their Master. They use this knowledge to recognize themselves. They use this knowledge to fulfill the necessary injunctions Allah Rabbul Izzat has placed on their shoulders. And they use this knowledge to fulfill the rights of their fellow beings. My dear respected brothers, be it academic knowledge or knowledge of deen, knowledge in general, it has a very high station in the eyes of men. But it is necessary to understand when Allah and His Rasul speak about knowledge, what knowledge are they referring to? And what knowledge will be beneficial in the grave and the hereafter. Because there are so many knowledges out there. There's not one department of knowledge. There are hundreds and thousands of departments of knowledges. An article came in the Times. The Times is the magazine. This was a couple of years ago. And it was regarding a very rich lady. She was extremely rich, and she gave up all her wealth. She was on a mission. Her mission was to recognize herself. The Prophet ﷺ said, Man arrafa nafsahu arrafa rabbahu. Whoever recognizes himself, he will recognize Allah Rabbul Izzat. Because Allah Rabbul Izzat has placed so many signs in us. We don't have to go far. We just have to throw or bow our heads down to see what we are and what is our reality. We don't even have to look up at the skies. We don't have to look at the creation of Allah Rabbul Izzat. This creation, we ourselves are sufficient to recognize Allah Rabbul Izzat. Allah mentions this in the glorious Quran as well, that if you want to find signs of Allah, look at your own self. Your own self, our own self is the biggest sign. So her purpose, she was on a quest, and the quest was to search for something more purposeful in life. To search for a purpose in life. And she gave a message. She gave a message to the atheist. She goes, before you reject God, obtain every knowledge out there. After obtaining every knowledge out there, if you come to this conclusion, which is impossible, then we can say, yes, you have done some research. But just pondering in 2-3 knowledges, or contemplating in 2-3 areas and then rejecting God, this is stupidity. You have to obtain all the knowledge out there. And once you do obtain all the knowledge out there, the conclusion that the atheists are coming to, you cannot come to that conclusion. Knowledge leads a person to God. It doesn't lead a person to reject and deny God. So the second group of people, the first group who Allah gives wealth and knowledge. Now, like I just said, there are so many knowledges out there, and our life is limited. So what knowledge does Allah and His Rasul demand from us? This is the question. This is the $1,000 question. What knowledge does Allah demand from us? There are 2 types of knowledge. The first knowledge is that knowledge, and this is the knowledge which is necessary for a Muslim, necessary for a believer. This is more necessary than any other knowledge. If today we understood this, this would not be our condition, or this would not be the condition of the world in general. We haven't understood the correct definition of knowledge. What is knowledge and what are the fruits of knowledge? Today the knowledge we learn, its purpose is one, its motive is one, its objective is one, its goal is one. That is for a high station in this dunya and to earn more, nothing else. It has nothing to do with Allah and His Rasul. No one here can say we go in the morning to please Allah and His Rasul. Nobody. Yes, you are earning a livelihood for your family, nothing more than that. That is an act of ibadah, nothing more than that. There's 2 knowledges. One knowledge is that where you recognize yourself, you recognize Allah Rabbul Izzat, you recognize the necessary injunctions Allah has placed on your shoulders. This knowledge, it shows you the path to reach your ultimate station in the hereafter. This knowledge in the eyes of Allah Rabbul Izzat, it is ilm nafi'ah, beneficial knowledge. This knowledge will give a person not only salvation in the hereafter, but salvation here. Knowledge is not that which destroys nations. Knowledge is not that makes wives widows, children orphans, and deprive parents from their children. This is not knowledge. The person that created and invented the atom bomb, this is knowledge as well. But it is destructive knowledge. Every nation, every country is scared of this. Knowledge does not bring fear in the heart. The trait of knowledge, it creates and it inculcates compassion, love, kindness. And where do you get this from? You get this from Surah Al-Fatiha and the commentary which Allah has mentioned in Surah Al Imran. When Allah Rabbul Izzat, Hadith in Mustadrak Hakim, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had the most profound knowledge. No one had more knowledge than the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We're talking about ilm nafi'ah, beneficial knowledge. that will uplift a person's station in the hereafter, not this dunya. The reason being is our ultimate abode, our ultimate goal, it is not the dunya, it is the hereafter, it is Jannah. We are here for a temporary period of time. We're not here for 1,000 or 2,000 years. Even if we were here for 1,000 or 2,000 years, still that death would be hovering over our head. Somebody asked Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, who lived for 1,040 years, how did you experience this long life? We would all desire to live for this long, I'm telling you, all of us. But we don't realize still death is waiting. We cannot escape death. Nobody can escape death. Nobody. The prophets could not escape. The prophet was given the choice. He could not escape. He was given the choice. Musa alayhi salam was given the choice. But Musa alayhi salam asked this question to the angel of death when he came the second time. He goes, even if my life is extended, prolonged, will I still die? The angel that said yes. Then he said, there's no purpose of living then. When the ultimate goal, when the ultimate station, when the ultimate result, it is death, it is better I die now then. There's no purpose prolonging then. One of the qualities which I was mentioning of knowledge, ilm nafi, it is compassion. And we understand this from the life of the Prophet ﷺ, that the Prophet ﷺ had the most profound knowledge. And I mentioned knowledge, knowledge of the hereafter, knowledge of Allah, knowledge of one's own self. It is mentioned in the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ compares Allah's knowledge to the makhluk, and then he compares his knowledge to the makhluk. This is only for us to understand. There is no comparison. Nothing can compare. Nothing in this dunya. There is no competition. No makhluk which Allah has created can compete with Allah. Allah is the most rich. La misla lahu wa la midda lahu. No. Nothing. This is just for our understanding. Just for our understanding. A comparison. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you take one atom out of the desert or one drop out of the ocean, that one drop or one atom of sand, that is my knowledge. And the whole sea and the whole desert is the knowledge of Allah Rabbul Izzat. And my knowledge, the Prophet ﷺ said, compared to the makhluk, it is the same. If you take one drop out of the ocean, or you take one atom out of the desert, that one atom or one drop which has been taken out of the ocean, it is the knowledge of all the makhluk. And my knowledge is the desert, and my knowledge is that ocean. The Prophet ﷺ was given the most profound knowledge. That's why the Prophet ﷺ's akhlaq were the greatest, because akhlaq inculcates these qualities. The modern education system, the education our children are learning, it does not inculcate these qualities, because the reason being is a person does not recognize his own self. So when a person does not recognize his own self, how will he recognize Allah? And when he doesn't recognize Allah, he will not recognize his fellow beings, the hukuk of his fellow beings. Harvard University, the greatest, they teach, there's degrees for business. And what is today's business? To make the customer stupid. A good businessman today is he who makes a customer stupid. How stupid can you make your customer? That's it, that's today's business. How stupid can you make the customer? Whereas in Sharia, it is not how stupid you can make the customer, it's how stupid you can be for the benefit of the customer. And there's not one incident, there's 1,000 incidents. Today's modern education system, it makes a person forget his Rabb. A person loses Allah in his life. There is no room for Allah in his life. From the day the child goes to school to the day he graduates, he does not hear about Allah or his Rasul. You have lost Allah. So 20 years you have been going to school or college or university and you haven't heard of Allah once. Now a person that goes through this process, how will he recognize his own self? How will he recognize Allah? When he reaches 25, 26, his mind, he's deluded. He's lost. There's only one purpose. And what is that purpose? The purpose is a higher station in the dunya. The purpose is to earn more. If a person is not doing sajda to Allah Rabbul Izzat, this is not ilm nafi', remember, it is ilm ghair nafi'. And Allah, the Prophet of Allah has cursed this. If your ilm, your knowledge is not making you prostrate to Allah, if your knowledge is not waking you up at night for tahajjud, this knowledge for you is a curse. It is ilm nafi', it's ilm ghair nafi'. You have not recognized Allah. And remember, we in this dunya, as we are alive, you recognize Allah, you don't recognize Allah, it will not make a difference. But in the grave it will make a big difference. In the grave it will make a big difference. In the plain fields of Hashr it will make a big difference. Here life passes, time passes, time has never stopped. You see, the most profound knowledge was the knowledge of the Prophet of Allah. That's why his qualities were the greatest. His compassion was the greatest. His kindness was the greatness. These qualities he instilled through this divine knowledge Allah Rabbul Izzat gave him. He was a shoulder for all the poor and the needy. He was a shoulder for all the downtrodden, for all the restless. If no one had any shoulder to put their head on, they had the shoulder of the Prophet ﷺ to put their head on. This is the result of profound knowledge. You recognize, you understand the hukuk of your elders. You understand and you recognize the hukuk of your youngsters. You understand and recognize the hukuk and the rights of your neighbors. You differentiate between haram and halal. You do not transgress the boundaries. You understand that all the makhluk of Allah Rabbul Izzat is the family of Allah Rabbul Izzat, and you work for their betterment. This is true knowledge, and you see this in the life of the Prophet of Allah. Everything I have said you can find in the life of the Prophet of Allah. Allama Ibn Qayyim rahimahumullah, he said the greatest calamity this ummah experienced, it was the day the Prophet ﷺ passed away. And what was that calamity? The calamity, it was not that divine knowledge has been disassociated from this ummah now, it's been disconnected from this ummah. The ummah will not receive any more revelation. It will not benefit from the barakat and the blessings of prophethood. This was not the greatest calamity. The greatest calamity was that the downtrodden, the poor, the needy, the weak, they had no shoulder to put their head on any longer. They had no shoulder to put their head on any longer. This was the greatest calamity this ummah experienced. How many of us present our shoulder as a form of Sahara, as a wall, as a sport for the poor and the needy? That if you have nowhere to come to me. I will share your grief, I will share your sorrow. How many of us share other people's sorrow and grief? If we are not sharing, it means the knowledge we have obtained is not ilm nafi'. Because the greatest calling of ilm nafi', it is that this knowledge makes a person work for the betterment, for the makhluk of Allah Rabbul Izzat, for the betterment of his fellow beings. It makes a person humble. A person throws his head down out of humility and humbleness. Today's modern education system, it makes a person arrogant. A person becomes arrogant. Those that are not educated, he looks down upon them. What is this ignorant person? But Sharia, in the eyes of Sharia, everybody is equal. The person with less knowledge, for that person he should be showered more love. But the modern education system, if a person is not educated, he's looked down upon. And he's given titles of stupidity. In the eyes of Sharia, this is not the case. Allah Rabbul Izzat give you me the tawfiq to implement and practice. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.